Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
From the Loft 100 studios here in sunny Southern California. Hope everybody's having a great day. We certainly are. As always, thanks for being along for the ride. My voice is cracking because I'm going through puberty. I'm Costa, Mary Bert Godwin, Greg Todorov here at the bar, and the man behind the bar, Captain.
I'm looking at. I want everybody to go to their app on their phone.
Okay.
That has the credit card right now with the highest balance on it. Okay. And I want you to tell me what your social security number is and the.
Right. I like this game. This is going to be fun.
let me type in my username and password here. This is always good for TV, don't you think? This is
Face
great.
not
Yeah,
recognized.
good stuff.
Yeah.
My new big red glasses are making it not great.
Okay, here I have mine. I've got my Chase Sapphire card.
Okay.
Which is sort of my go-to card for all things Apple Pay. Okay.
Yep.
And my current balance is $2,750, which for me, I really don't kind of keep balances on there because I pay my stuff off literally. I'm a little freaky about credit scores and everything like that. So every Friday I try to pay off and if the thing gets up to like, it's up to like $4,000, I'm going to pay $400, every time for 10 weeks until I get it paid off or whatever I can afford. So what are you at? Where are you at? Oh.
You don't want to know. But I pay it off every month.
How about this?
I pay it off every month.
Okay, above or below $5,000?
Above. But I pay it off every month. So
above or below $5,000?
Below. I've got about $1,100 on my American.
Above or below $5,000?
Below.
Okay. Howie Font's here to talk to us about this thing we like to call the credit card bubble. Howie, of course, there's only 3 people in the universe who have a credit score of 850. Howie's one of them.
Of course.
And the newborns are the rest of them. Yeah. My parents are the other 2. So that's it. Howie, good to see you. We have a credit card bubble that I thought we slayed that dragon during COVID. We had low credit card balances, we had money in the bank, and then of course what was coming. And this is interesting because we had it all made. We never had it made. I'll tell you why, because inflation was coming as a result of us being able to pay off our credit cards. And the problem with this is every time you have money flow into a system, inflation follows. And now we're worse off than we were even before COVID, right, Howie? Isn't that the moral of this story? I can't hear Howard. Can you hear
Howard Font.
Howard can't be heard.
Please, Howard.
Look, I love the look in his face.
Yep.
How
about now?
There we go. There you go. So are we worse than before, Howie? Are we worse than before?
I know you guys just don't want to hear the truth, but
can't handle the truth.
I mean, we're at what, 23% credit card interest in August, but the problem is our balances are up there too. I mean, we're up 7% in interest rates in 2 years, but we're up 100% in balances in the last 2 years. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, something that might help people understand, in 2019, pre-pandemic, we had 318 billion in interest payments.
Oh my God.
Excuse me, we had 160. We're at 318 now. And
oh my God. How much credit card debt do we have right now as a whole?
Now we've hit a record. It's 1.36 trillion.
What?
Okay. So I want next time we're on the air with you, I want you one of those Howie things that says, if you spent $4 billion a second since the day you were born, you still wouldn't have Reese. And that's probably the truth. Are you using? I use my card for convenience a little bit.
I use it throughout the month, and then I pay off the balance at the end of the month.
Do you use American Express? Is that American Express?
No, I use the Chase Unlimited.
Chase.
And I do a lot of travel.
Do you get points and cash back and all this?
I do the cash back thing, and I get discounts for travel and hotel rooms.
I've got a American Airlines Costco credit card that we paid that off.
So you could buy yourself a 45-pound thing of cheese.
Pretty much.
And you can fly on that for free.
And then American Express, because I know that we have to pay it off at the end of the month.
You're paying fees for things like baseball and horses and stuff like that. Are you using your card more now than ever?
I use it whenever I can. As long as they don't charge a processing fee.
Oh, I see.
See what I'm saying?
You pay it off at the end of the month.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's what I do, but it's a lot.
Howie, stay there. We're going to talk about, in comparison, delinquency rates. And we are so worse off than we were before COVID. And it's not because of COVID, it's because of how we handled it.
Show. Coast to coast. We're also in Mexico on Bloomberg Financiero, and very soon, as Sully tells us, Bloomberg EU. Costa Maribert Godwin, Greg Todorov, our executive producer.
Yep.
And Sully.
Big hello to the Day Traders here today. What's up, boys?
Hey.
Yeah. Whoa. Boom.
Hey.
Do you know what the number one credit card hacking is right now?
Cut it in half?
No.
No.
Actually, do you know what they say you should do if you have too many credit cards that you finally pay it to a zero balance?
Yeah.
Put them in the freezer in a baggie full of water. So put your credit card in water. So put a baggie, credit card, fill it with water, zip it up, put it in the freezer.
Can't take an ice cube.
Can't take an ice cube to the store.
Love it. Beautiful.
No, I'm talking about hacking like
someone get your number?
identity theft.
Oh.
It's Apple Pay.
Oh.
In any stores. So I left my phone for not more than, well, how long is it going to take me to go from the grocery counter to my car and realize, load the groceries, sit in the car. Where's my phone? Oh, crap. Get out. So however long
Less
that is.
than a minute.
Yeah.
No, it's probably more. I'm going to say 3 minutes. Okay?
Oh, okay.
And I started getting these crazy, I didn't notice it, by the way, but my balance is going up. I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I must have, it's the 7 Netflix accounts I signed up for.
Right.
Who doesn't have at least one Amazon Prime Video account? I started noticing things. There was one, I can't remember the names of them, but they were not recognizable, but there was hundreds of them.
What?
$20, $30, $25.
No way.
There is the adult industry, because speaking of Mike's 900 numbers, the OnlyFans of the world, the Only Feet of the world, the Only Mike's Face of the world, whatever those only accounts are the number one hacking.
No way.
When they find your phone, if they can get on your Apple ID.
Oh boy.
I was infected by I don't know if it was the industry, but whatever these unknown ones, on cards that were not on my Apple Pay, they go in and it's an identity theft thing.
Wow.
Where I'm talking about business credit cards. I'm talking about tax returns that are filed these days under false names to get a refund based upon what they got off of your Apple Pay. And it's not just the adult industry, of course. There's a million things that you can do. The fake phone companies, like Steve J.J. Wiseman said, the scam man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So did somebody in that time frame that you left it there do something to it? Or
hard to say. It's the but put it this way. It's the only time I ever didn't have my phone in my possession, but it sort of feels like when Rusty Nails, God bless his soul, went to Russia for a wedding. He went to Dan Negroni's wedding, his son's wedding, went to Russia. And the first thing he does is sits in the lobby of the Russian hotels and says, hey, what's the Wi-Fi password? What do you think happened to Rusty with his laptop?
Yeah.
I feel like it's sort of that there's a thing out there that's going and just waiting for you to.
Well, that's what I was wondering, if the scanner that.
I don't know because what Greg's talking about was what Steve Wiseman said. There's a skimmer, is what they call it, the gas station.
Oh, right.
It's a false.
It's a false front.
Right.
I think there's just people out there that are just magnetically grabbing your crap if you walk through a zone and you don't happen to have your security on. In any case, part of that is why we're having these crazy delinquency rates. Howie Font joins us once again to talk about this credit card stuff. Howie, what were our delinquency rates prior to COVID? I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, didn't you say or didn't you write at somewhere that we're as high as we've been since 2011 at this point?
Yeah, so we were doing pretty well. I mean, COVID put money in people's pockets, like you were saying. We had some debt paid down. We weren't using credit cards to fund our lifestyles. And, COVID ended, stimulus ended, and we went right back up. And actually worse, we're now, like you said, we've had this big U shape. So in 2011, we were at 7%. Now we finally hit 7% again. But the actual load of debt, that 1.36 trillion, is higher than it's ever been.
What's interesting is that people are making minimum payments. So basically what they're paying is the interest payment.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned 2019, there were $160 billion in annual interest payments, and now it's $318 billion. That's got to be going towards the delinquency rate. And the problem is it's a double-edged sword because you're not paying down your balance and you're late. Yep. So we had higher credit scores during COVID, during the stimulus. We had more money in the savings accounts during the stimulus, and we had lower credit card balances. But if you were to go back, and I can tell you, I predicted it. I'm not saying because I'm smart. I was just looking at a damn chart and saying, You have money flow like this going back to 1940. You had interest rates like this. Knowing what we know now, do you think we should have done any of these stimulus? Because it was really, really helpful. People couldn't pay the rent, but should we have just buckled up, considering what we're going through now in terms of inflation? Because this inflation was direct relationship to putting money in the system. China's going through it right now. Howie? Would you have rather not had it, or what was that answer? I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Yeah, I think the first round of stimulus made a lot of sense. There was a lot of chaos. I'm not going to judge anyone for not having 2020 hindsight with a novel situation like that. I think reopening could have been done a lot faster and a lot better. And largely, I'm going to also put the inflation on this. PPP should have been way more.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about that.
Yeah. The small business loans that they kind of gave to anybody and everybody, and there have been endless stories about.
But there's prosecutions going on about people that abuse that system.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, I remember at the time, I refused a PPP thing because I thought I don't want to have. I think I could have gotten something like $30,000 at the time. Mm-hmm. There was only a few people working and so on and so forth. But I realized, well, what the hell? What if we have to pay that back at some point? And you know how the government works. Exactly. Oh, yeah, the embassy's over. I need your money now. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to travel out of the U.S.
Things are better. Right? Can you pay us, please?
Howie, what does the future look like for interest and inflation and stuff? You had us a little alarmed about China last week. Of course, there was the Japanese issue that happened a couple of weeks ago. If you don't think we're in a global economy, look no further than the news and how it's affecting our own. We are at the tail end of inflation, or so it seems, right here in our country. But we're also in a global economy. What are we thinking going forward?
Well, this story never ceases. The scuttlebutt on the street now is that everyone is shocked and chagrined that, oh my gosh, the Fed overcut. They did the 50 basis instead of 25 points. Well, we were all begging for as big a cut as we could get 2 or 3 months ago, and now everyone says, oh my gosh, with China doing all the stimulus and with all of the oil production, we're going to reignite inflation. Well, I think it's a little too soon to see how things play out. Things have looked better than they could have in the Middle East, which really would spike energy prices. That's really bad for Europe. It's going to be a colder winter for them than they had last year.
How does it affect us?
Too soon to say.
How does it affect us?
Well,
long term. Actually, give me short term and long term. How does it affect us this year? Because we're in the last quarter. And how does it affect us? Because I remember thinking, and I was doing a ton of business reporting, like hits for Fox Business and CNN and MSNBC and Fox News back in during post-COVID times, and we were looking at about 2023 fall to be when things would be back to normal. Now we're 2024 fall. Things we're at the off ramp, but things aren't back to normal yet. I have great enthusiasm for the end of Q1 2025, and I'll tell you before that, stock market's going to go way better than the economy. And again, the economy is not the stock market, but I think you're going to see good stock market gains through the rest of the year, and I think 2025 is going to be a bang. But what do you think about my philosophy that end of Q1 2025 is sort of when we start really seeing that economy that we shut off like a light switch come back on like a full sunrise? Very slow, but we finally get the full light of day. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it takes time for rate cuts to move through the economy. We just had one in September, end of January, end of the first quarter. Sounds like a very good time frame to start feeling the effects of that. We also have the catalyst of a new administration. Things will be solidified by then, so that's a good reason. Hopefully, we have some resolution to some of the conflict internationally. All these things can settle up and create a firmer future. I will just say, we are at all-time highs in the market, and I know it's not the economy, but what more can you ask for as far as the market performance this year?
Well, listen, and it's so funny because all the open-air indicators suggest it's only going to get better, as we move forward. So I'm thinking that we're at the right place at the right time, and I think I really hope the inflationary times, because look, we've had periods like this in our lifetime. We've seen the Great Correction, the Great Recession. We saw SARS. We saw the bird flu type thing. We saw COVID. And if you looked at a chart from where we were in 2008, so here's your starting point, to where we are now, it goes like this. Oh my God, But guess what? If the Dow was a deal here in comparison to today, isn't the Dow deal here?
Of course.
In comparison to tomorrow? That's how you got it. Callie, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Howard J. Font, of course, our entrepreneur. You feel better or you feel worse today after talking to Howie?
I think I feel better.
I think so too. Mary?
I don't know. I'm glazed over.
Mary's still worried about yesterday. Mary's still worried about yesterday's show about talking about the college 529 plans.
Exactly. I'm still in that world, so talk to me.
I'm proud of you, though, that you pay your credit card off every month. How mature of you.
Thank you.
Really good.
All right. Coming up. Finally.
I know.
Time to talk about It's Mike's Boozy Corner with our latest sponsor. Partake Brewing.
Yeah.
A little parched. I know.
Yeah.
I think this is a
great story.
See you in a minute.
Big Biz Show rolls on from the Loft 100 studios.
Hey, Mike. Hey,
yes,
Mike.
sir. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
Oh.
Sound effects.
Oh. And there's Mike earlier today.
This portion of the Big Biz Show is brought to you by Partake Brewing. Crafted for confidence. Find one. Find out how you can get one simply at drinkpartake.com.
I'm on some now.
That's right.
How about that?
Revolutionizing.
I'm
Is this what I'm
non-
seeing here? Let me see. I got it's nice and cold. Non-alcoholic brew.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this.
This is called Peach Goes.
I want this one. Can I open it?
Can I bust it open?
I'm going in.
This one's called non-alcoholic IPA.
Yep. You know what?
Look, I got a tap.
This is a non-alcoholic Pilsner. This reminds me of, remember cream soda?
Yes.
Remember the cream soda can?
Of course.
Was always this color.
You know what?
Non-alcoholic blonde. Boy.
Whoa.
Speaking of non-alcoholic blondes.
I'm a recovering alcoholic.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, you somehow have finagled this person to give us his free time.
I did.
To come on this ridiculous program. By the way, we are in 125 million TV homes every single night on BizTV and American Life Network. Let's not forget American Forces Network in 175 countries and all the ships at sea. Of course, Bloomberg El Financiero in Mexico, as well as moving into Bloomberg EU. And I'm pretty sure that we are being pirated because I keep on hearing about, hey, I saw you on the internet. I'm going,
We're not on here.
hey, I listened to you on KLNP Las Vegas. We're not on it. So I'm pretty sure somebody's sneaking the signal. I just want my little something on
Exactly.
that. But you got Ted Fleming. He's the founder of Partake Brewing, and we're so important that we get the guy behind the guy.
That's right.
It's like saying I'm Wisconsin. We're the state next to the state.
We are. Well, the Costa household is going through Sober October.
Are you really?
So, truth be told,
How's
we
it
have a
going for
little
you?
Partake in our
Is
refrigerator.
that followed by hard liquor and handgun night November?
Well, November's going to be ugly, but right now it's Sober October, and joining us is the founder of Partake Brewing, Mr. Ted Fleming. Ted, it is so great to see you. It's so great to finally catch up with you. I know how busy you have been, and it's been a little hard getting our schedules aligned, but welcome to
That was passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for not coming on earlier, pal.
Well, it's great to be here, guys. Better late than never, right?
Exactly. It's great to have you. Before we talk about the product, and the product is outstanding, maybe go back and tell us how you got around to bringing Partake to the masses.
Sure. So, story for me goes way back to 2005. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease that year, and that sort of turned my world upside down. Didn't know what it meant, but a few years later, fast forward to 2010, really had to give up alcohol as part of a larger shift towards health and wellness. I became a father that same year, and really motivated to make some positive changes in my life. Giving up alcohol was one of them. And as I went down that path, I was going out to bars and restaurants with my friends, trying to keep that social connection that we all love, and you guys obviously have at the studio there. I was trying to keep that part of my life intact, and I'd go out and say, hey, what do you have in the way of non-alcoholic products? And I'd often get looked at with a strange look, or I'd be offered water, soda, juice. It wasn't a very inclusive or welcoming experience for people who couldn't drink. So the answer for me is I love craft beer. Most of my friends were drinking craft beer at the time. I really wanted to be part of that experience, and so I set off to create a craft non-alcoholic beer that I could enjoy. And as it turns out, hundreds of thousands of other people have been able to enjoy as well.
I can't drink either, so I just have tequila.
Yep.
It's that's like my big fat Greek wedding. She doesn't eat meat. We'll give her lamb.
Exactly.
Ted, talk about market share here, because on a business front, if you look at the non-alcoholic space, when you got folks like Heineken going in, and you got other companies going in, this is fertile ground for you. And there needs to be somebody disruptive, just like near beer was disruptive back in the early 70s. I don't think that people are going to hang their hats on their regular Heineken beer or Michelob Ultra when they can see that there's a category that you have filled up specifically for that, a product that you filled up specifically for that category. Talk about that for a minute, because that had to be part of the decision.
Yeah, it's been a really dynamic market for the last couple of years. You've seen, as you say, Heineken, Michelob Ultra, I think, is launching a non-alc beer. So I think there's those big brands that are coming into the non-alc space. When I started in this industry, I was talking to a lot of them about, hey, could you make me a non-alc beer or work with me? And they didn't really believe in the category 10 years ago, but about 5 years ago, that started to shift, and you saw these new products from big brands coming into the non-alc space. In many ways, it's been good for the category because it just brings a huge amount of brand awareness and credibility to the category. Heineken obviously has a massive global marketing budget sponsoring F1. So, we're a beneficiary of some of that spend into the category, and they've led the way in some markets, making it just way more socially acceptable for people to pick a non-alc beer. And then, we're bringing a lot to the table. We've got a variety of products. So as you went through, we've got product from IPA, hazy IPA, peach goza, blonde, pilsner. So we've got products that suit almost any beer drinker in the styles that they like. And we do that actually differently than some of the big beer companies. Most of those beers are, call them 60 to 80 calories per can. Our beers are as low as 10 calories a can. So a lot of our consumers really think that's a huge value add.
This is really you're on trend, I would say. So this one is like the peach flavor, but it's still got a beery flavor. Do you move into the next phase of alcoholic drinks or wines or those kinds of things?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, our peach goza is a little bit different from the traditional beers. It's a slightly sour beer, and for people that come to us and say, hey, I'd love to give it a try, but I'm not a beer drinker, peach goza is the one we give them because it drinks in many ways like a seltzer. So, there's something for everyone in our portfolio of products. The question is, do we go into wines or into non-alc cocktails? You're seeing a resurgence in those as well. So, time will tell whether we go into those, but I think we've got a lot of work to do still on the beer front, and we're focused on that. And I think we've got a lot of innovation that we bring out through, not necessarily through retail all the time, but through our website, where people can get new variants of products, new styles, and we seem to be doing well with that. So we'll stick to Oktoberfest, as you've got up there, as well as another popular limited time offer that we do. So we're doing well with what we're doing, and I think we'll stick to that lane until we have a good reason to change. And there's I got to say, there's lots of other companies entering the space that are tackling non-alc wine and non-alc mocktails as well. So it's a great community to be a part of today as well.
Where can we get this?
So as mentioned, drinkpartake.com, you can get all of our products there. From a retail perspective, Total Wine and Whole Foods are some of our bigger retailers nationally. We're also in select Targets and Walmarts across the U.S. as well. In Canada, we're in Walmart, we're in Loblaws. If you have any Canadian viewers, we obviously are a Canadian company, first of all, but making some great strides in the U.S. as well, being available in most states.
Ted Fleming, the founder of Partake Brewing, the website to find out where you can get your hands on some. You got to do it. This stuff's phenomenal. Drink Partake.
How is that? You're drinking that, correct?
I've got that. Well, and truth be told, I've had this in our house for.
I want to get pulled over. Weeks. I want to get pulled over with like these things just cracked on my head in the driver's seat. Yep. In the driver's seat.
No, it's
and just open the window and go, yes, officer.
Right.
And then say, ha!
When you taste what's out there and then you taste this, no competition.
Hey, Ted, will you come back on with us, man? This is really good stuff. I want to get into the granular on how it's brewed and everything else. We'd love to have you back, pal.
Thanks for doing this, Ted.
Yeah, of course. Love to.
Ted Fleming, founder of Partake Brewing, drinkpartake.com. Coming up next, more of this.
Ice cold and ready to go.
That guy's got great forearms in that picture right there. I'll tell you, that's a good ad.
Where Wherever you are watching, wherever you're listening, thank you for being along for the ride. And of course, this ride is called The Big Biz Show. The Loft 100 Studios in sunny Southern California. I'm Costa. She is Maribert Godwin. He is Greg Todorov. And the man we call now Captain Finance.
Nobody calls you that.
I think everybody calls you
No,
that.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
Sully, Captain.
Look at that day trader tree up there.
TTC.
The best.
Man, that's good.
Look who's here, Bob Babbitt, of course.
Hey.
Bob Babbitt, co-founder of Competitor Magazine back in the day. You can hear him. I listen to him hours per day. I really do on Babbitttville Radio, which is a radio program that it's a podcast radio program that showcases. Do I call these endurance sports?
Endurance athletes, yeah. Endurance athletes, endurance sports, and primarily our YouTube shows are biggie. It's Breakfast with Bob, and we're getting ready to go over to Kona. I think we have about 45 interviews lined up for.
He also hosts Challenge Athletes Foundation Heroes of Sport, and why does he do that? Because he was a founder, one of the 3 founders of the Challenged Athletes Foundation. Of course, we've talked about it. We've interviewed, I think, almost 300 athletes here in the course of the years, and of course. I have been intimately involved, continue to be intimately involved with Challenge Athletes Foundation, who raises money for those folks with physical challenges because the insurance companies aren't going to do it, and I'll let Bob explain that in a minute. But real quickly to kick it off, we are doing a fundraiser in December. Mary, you want to take that away for us? Talk to us about it?
Yes, Sullivan, the new band, is headlining a gig at the Belly Up, and we're the beneficiaries of the Challenge Athletes.
All the proceeds go to the Challenge Athletes Foundation.
Thank you very much. That's awesome. That's great.
Well, you're at the top. We deal with your people. We thought we'd drop it on you.
I don't have any people. I wish I had some people. My people sitting right here.
I want to talk, before we talked about how much money you raised, I want to talk before the other stuff. I want you to tell folks, because now with the Bloomberg affiliates, with the more affiliates on BizTV and such, I want you to talk about exactly what CAF does, because I think nobody can tell the story better than you, because you live it every single day.
So basically, like you mentioned, insurance does cover. If you get injured, your health insurance covers a walking around leg or an everyday wheelchair. Nothing to do with sport is covered by insurance.
They think that's a luxury.
A luxury item. It's considered a luxury item. And we found that out when our buddy Jim McLaren, who had already been an amputee, became a quadriplegic. And we got him to give him independence. We got him a van. That was the whole idea. Van with hand controls to give him independence.
And boy, did you open up a door.
Well, and we thought our job was done. The goal was $25K. We raised $49K. We thought it'd get Jimmy a van, and we're out of here. And then it turned out 3 amputee women came up to us at the event we did for Jimmy and said, "Hey, did you know that your health insurance covers nothing if you get injured, a everyday chair or a walking around leg?" So now it's been 31 years. We've raised $180 million and sent over 48,000 grants to challenged athletes in all 50 states.
We're talking about grants for not just track and field and cycling. We're talking about adaptive surfing.
Yep.
We're talking about
105 different sports.
What about murder ball?
105 different sports. Our 105th sport was wheelchair pickleball.
I was going to say, is pickleball in there yet?
Wheelchair pickleball. It's
got to be.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of wheelchair pickleball, but there's a sport, my favorite sport to watch, because I know the guys that do it, and they're just hilarious guys, is murder ball.
Oh yeah, quad rugby. Well, it was quad rugby. Now it is. It's not called quad. It's wheelchair rugby.
So they're inside of a basketball gym, and they have specially armored wheelchairs.
They're about 40 pounds.
These guys are built like, and then they've got basically a volleyball.
Yeah.
And it's like Demolition Derby meets El Cajon Speedway meets Gladiator. And these guys are having a ball, and it's a serious sport, though.
I think we got our 3rd silver medal in a row at the Paralympics in Paris. And the cool part about the Paralympics, we were there this year. We had a group of 11 go over from CAF to watch. There's 225 members of Team USA. 127 were CAF grantees.
No way.
And they call it wheelchair rugby, but between the guys, they call it, guys and gals, they call it murder ball. What I think is interesting about this, Bob, is that childhood obesity. In incidences of kids that are born with birth defects or happen to lose a limb or get paralyzed, what's the number on that? And when they get introduced to sport, it goes completely eradicated.
And the deal is, that's one of the things that drives you crazy. Insurance will cover all the medication you want. A piece of sport equipment. Here's dad is paralyzed, the rest of the family isn't. The family goes for a bike ride, dad's sitting at home. If he has a hand cycle, he goes off with the family. So everybody wins. That's the thing that drives me so nuts.
You guys just raised $2.4 million at your gala.
We did. We had a gala, the Heroes Heart and Hope Gala in New York, and that gala raised north of $2.4 million in one night. Bob Costas came, interviewed one of our little girls who's actually a quadruple amputee. You remember Landis?
Yeah, sure.
So Landis, a baseball player.
Landis, a baseball player that you did a movie about Landis.
We did a movie who now is going to Point Loma Nazarene.
Really?
He's going to college here in San Diego. So we need to get him back on here.
Yeah, I'd love
But the cool thing with Landis, we introduced him to a little girl who was in a car accident in Idaho Falls. She was in the backseat of the car. She was 9 years old. And they go to the hospital, and she has a lacerated kidney and a broken rib, pretty minor. They didn't treat her for 12 hours. Wow. She ended up losing all 4 limbs.
No way.
And we only were introduced to her because we were going up to Idaho. You like that jacket, I bet.
Is that Don Johnson?
That is actually Bob Costas. No, that's actually Scott Stackman, who started the gala.
I'm going to call it Bob Johnson. I mean,
You like
Miami Vice.
That's little Emily with the scarf on with Bob Costas and her parents. And that was, so Bob interviewed her on stage, and he goes, so what would you like to do besides play sports? She says, I like to paint. And she hands him a painting of a baseball player that she did for Bob Costas, and Bob broke down.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Really?
it was
amazing.
Really a magic moment.
I know you guys just did a women's cycling retreat or you're coming up on a women's cycling.
Women's cycling just happened. Yeah, I think it's Ojai. Yeah, they just did that.
But you've got in Southern California here. You got a community weekend coming up.
We have our big community weekend, November 1st, 2nd, 3rd, Celebration of Abilities dinner on the Friday night, the 1st. The 2nd is our amputee running clinic. 125, 130 amputees, a lot of them running for the very first time, along with people who are running 10 seconds for 100 meters who are missing both legs below the knee. So it's a pretty crazy day. And then on Sunday is the San Diego Triathlon Challenge.
Yeah, which is the greatest weekend in tri.
And then we have EOS is a great partner, and they do a stationary bike event, and they'll have like people riding for 4.5 hours, and then we'll have sit volleyball and wheelchair basketball, all sorts of clinics and camps, and Toyota's out there.
Bring back the million-mile challenge.
Well,
Sorry.
Before we get it,
I unleashed it.
Somebody's going to Thailand in January?
They're going to Thailand in January. Yes,
Is it a cycling trip?
Cycling trip in January. Have you signed up yet? Come on, it's gonna.
You want me in Thailand?
No.
You've known me for 35 years.
My internal monologue.
You've known me for almost 40 years.
Sully in handcuffs in Thailand.
We've seen that
we
movie
lost
before.
rounds.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
In the words of The Hangover, Thailand's got him, and he's not coming back. Hey, I want you to
I'm
talk.
getting a $5 massage on the beach.
Right.
I'll be back in November.
Exactly.
With a face tattoo.
I want to talk to you about. I get emails and we fail to do this enough when you're on the air.
Yes.
People want to know how they can get involved, not only in participating in some of these things, but also donating.
Yeah, challengedathletes.org. It's the easiest thing in the world.
And you're taking money all the time. And what if people wanted to? We want to give that person or this sport specifically. Do you bifurcate it like that, or is it go in one big pile and you guys go through a vetting process?
Yeah, we try to avoid having someone say, hey, I really want to help Rudy out. You want to make sure that the people, like right now, on October 7th, the grants opened up for people to apply for grants for this next year. Last year, we sent out, it was 4,500 grants totaling $8.1 million.
And the decision-making process has got to be a difficult one because you can't help everybody every year.
Right. And the key is you read through these applications, and I read over 100 of them every year.
Yeah.
And the thing that hits you the most is when people have a disability, they don't make anything. They're making $25,000, $30,000 a year. So when someone is asking for a $4,500 wheelchair basketball chair, which we don't think is that big a deal, there is no way they can ever afford it.
Right.
But let's also talk about the fact that you say this, and I bring this up all the time when I talk to you because I think it's specific. The minute you lose ambulatory access on this earth, you suddenly find yourself at your parents' home again or under the parents' care again. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, that's what Jim McLaren told us. Is that is when you become injured, all of a sudden you can't do anything. And when I'd interview people, when I had Competitor Magazine, I'm interviewing wheelchair athletes, Jim Knab and guys like that. So the worst thing is you're 30 years old and here come mom and dad back in your life. You were an independent person and now you're not.
I'm going to say this on national television, which will also air in Mexico on Bloomberg, later in the EU and Bloomberg, also on American Forces Radio Network. Yes, we simulcast on radio also on 175 countries and all ships at sea. We at Sully Entertainment Group, Loft 100 Studios, will be the title sponsor once again for the 6th year if you do another $1 million challenge.
Ooh.
Just saying. We'll bring our crew there. Jared, are we calling Jared, our award-winning director?
Jared's
We'll do the production.
Tommy will ride
the whole
again.
thing.
It'll
And
be
do you know
great.
what I do?
Yeah.
Do you know what I do? I love, Tom. At some point, these people are raising money to ride. When I sponsor, I'm paying not to ride.
Right.
Yeah, right. He just shows up at the party.
I've ridden it so many times. I'm going to go ride 20 miles and go have breakfast, maybe meet you guys at dinner. When you're the title sponsor, they'll give you a ride to the end. Everybody else has got to ride.
You'll be sitting in the lobby in the robe on going, when do we go to Thailand?
Exactly.
Bob Babbitt, challengedathletes.org. Buddy, thank you so much, as usual.
Thanks for all the
We got
support.
to get you on every show that we have on a regular basis. All right, coming up, we're going to talk to, you know what a research analyst is and stuff? Me neither. John Vandermosten, Senior Life Sciences Analyst for Zacks. Coming on the air to talk about that on the Big Biz Show. Stand by. Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Big Biz Show continues. We are in the Loft 100 Studios here in sunny Southern California. Hope everyone's having a great day.
Yes, indeed.
Mary Burton Godwin, Greg Todorov, our executive producer, and Sully.
Hey.
Is that a Pendleton?
No. It's a made in a hurry.
Gotcha.
I don't know what this is.
Okay.
But it's,
You're not a brand name kind of guy, are you?
I don't know. I don't wear logos. I hate competing logos. You got a Nike swoosh on, and you got a freaking,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I don't like
That's
that.
Big faux pas.
Yeah.
Me either.
Me and Greg are.
Unless I'm getting
Unless
paid for
they're
it.
paying me and Greg.
Unless I'm getting paid
Come
for
on
it,
now.
I'm not going to wear your
Come
logo.
Do you? First of all, a couple of things. If I were to tell you that every stock, whether it be a small cap stock or a big board stock, has what's called research and analysts, would you know what I was talking about? Mary?
No, definitely not. You saw my face glaze over, right?
There was one?
I want to be the analyst for the booze stocks.
There we go.
Right?
All right.
No, but seriously, there is a really well-known research group called Zacks. And our next guest is a senior life sciences analyst for Zacks Small Cap Research, but he also hosts a program on YouTube called Unboxing Biotech. And he reached out to us, or one of his people reached out to us, to talk about, hey, listen, I'm watching you guys, and I'd like to see see if you guys would be interested in hearing what an analyst does. I thought we've never had that.
Love it.
In the 35 years we've been on radio and the 20 years or so we've been on TV, we've never had that. So I give you John Vandermosten, Senior Life Sciences Analyst for Zacks Small Cap Research and, of course, Unboxing Research. He's the host. What's up, buddy? Good to talk to you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm wearing the Nike swoosh you were talking about.
He must be getting paid for it.
But you're not wearing a competing Quicksilver hat.
Right.
And by the way, he can't go to church, unfortunately. Do you know why? Because they don't allow guns in church.
Oh, yeah. He must work out.
Hey, can you? You're a certified financial analyst, but can you tell? Because we've got the highest technical traders that watch this program, and we have the folks that don't understand when we say the Dow Jones goes up 10 points. What does an analyst do, and why is that important for investors?
Yeah, so I can kind of differentiate what I do versus an analyst, maybe for a big fund or something like that. Analysts have to specialize to some degree, and I used to be on the buy side, and I covered a large fund and had to cover a lot of different things. I covered retail, I covered energy, I covered healthcare. But when you're covering that many areas, you just can't be a specialist. So you need to have others you can rely on to help you understand a little bit better what's going on. So individuals like me in the role of life sciences analyst, we focus a little bit more on certain areas. So I'm the life sciences, small cap life sciences analyst at Zacks, and I cover about 18 different stocks, and I know each of them very well. Now, if you compare that to somebody who's running a big fund with 100 different names in it, they have to spread themselves a little more thinly. So what I do is I'm a little bit more focused. I know things a little bit better about them. I read into their materials a little bit more. I do extra research on it. So that's kind of one of the differentiators between what I do and kind of what a normal equity analyst would do.
John, are you getting into the weeds, though, on every single stock every single day? The ones that you're following, the 18 or 20 you mentioned?
Yeah. So I exactly. So I'll read all the materials that they put out. I'll watch all of their interviews. I'll look at all of their conference presentations, and I'll try to pick out things that they say that maybe are indicating how the stock is doing. And I also have calls with them on a regular basis. Every time they have an earnings call, I usually follow up with them on a few items. So what I try to do is go a little bit deeper, and then we put out a report after our conversations and after reviewing the materials for people who own the stock perhaps or interested in the stock, so that they can get the summary of the key information. And I help interpret it for them as well. Not all analysts kind of know the whole framework of maybe where a stock fits. So I'm able to put it in that framework as well.
So I'm sure you've never heard this question before, but what stocks do you recommend there, big fella?
Right. Well, I just initiated yesterday on a very interesting company called Ligand Pharmaceuticals. And one of the reasons I really like this is because I do get that very same question that you've asked me from everybody. John, what should I buy? And when you get the CFA designation, as you mentioned, I have, one thing they teach you about is diversification. And a lot of these small cap biotech names are not diversified, right? You need to hold a portfolio of them. And a lot of people don't want to buy a whole portfolio. They want one. So this company, Ligand Pharmaceuticals, which, by the way, I think is close to where you got, they were originated close to where you guys are in San Diego. They have a portfolio of over 100 different assets in the biotech and pharmaceutical space. So you can get a bunch of diversification with one stock. So the ticker symbol on that is LGND. Really like what they're doing. They seem to have a lot of opportunity. There's a bunch of other companies that are in this similar area as them, but Ligand is unique because they're focused on a narrow area of about an investment size of 20 to 40 million.
John,
a lot of the guys are bigger than that.
John, we're short on time today, but I want to have you back on a weekly basis if you're willing to do that. And also, I want to promote your unboxingbiotech.com. You're doing kind of an interview type show on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, where you're interviewing the folks that are in and around biotech. And I encourage people to go take a look at that. Unboxingbiotech.com. His name is John Vandermosten. You just committed to it, pal. On national TV, you're coming back. It's like the mob. Once you're in, you can't get out.
That's right.
Yep. John Vandermosten, Senior Life Science Analyst, Zacks Small Cap Research, and Unboxing Biotech. Go to unboxingbiotech.com. You'll see more of him coming up. That's it for us. Big Biz Show, bigbizshow.com. We'll see you next time.